Bishop BlougramÄ's apology. Robert Browning. No more wine? Then we'll push back chairs and talk. A final glass for me, though. Cool, I faith. We ought to have our abbey back, you see. It's different, preaching in basilicas, and doing duty in some masterpiece like this of Brother Puginus, bless his heart. I doubt if they're half-baked, those chalk rosettes, ciphers and stucco twiddlings everywhere. It's just like breathing in a lime kiln, eh? These hot long ceremonies of our church cost us a little. Oh, they pay the price, you take me amply pay it. Now, we'll talk. So, you despise me, Mr. Gigadibs? No deprecation, nay, I beg you, sir. Beside 'tis our engagement, don't you know, I promised, if you watch it en route, we'd see truth done together. Truth that peeps over the glass's edge when dinner's done, and body gets its sop and holds its noise and leaves soul free a little. Now's the time is break of day. You do despise me then? And if I say, despise me, never fear, I know you do not, in a certain sense, not in my armchair, for example. Here, I will imagine you respect my place, status, entourage, worldly circumstance, quite to its value, very much indeed, are up to the protesting eyes of you in pride at being seated here for once. You'll turn it to such capital account. When somebody, through years and years to come, hints of the bishop, names me, that's enough. Blougram? I knew him. Into it you slide. Dined with him once, a Corpus Christi day, all alone, we two. He's a clever man, and after dinner, why, the wine, you know. Oh, there was wine, and good. What with the wine? Faith, we began upon all sorts of talk. He's no bad fellow, Blougram. He had seen something of mine here relished, some of you. He is quite above their humbug in his heart, half said as much, indeed the thing's his trade. I warrant, Blougram's sceptical at times, how otherwise? I liked him, I confess. Che acute, my dear sir, as we say at Rome, don't you protest now. It's fair give and take. You have had your turn and spoken your home truths, the hand's mine now, and here you follow suit. Thus much conceded, still the first fact stays, you do despise me. Your ideal of life is not the bishop's, you would not be you would like better to be Goethe, now, or Bonaparte, or, bless me, lower still, Count d'Orsay. So you did what you preferred, spoke as you thought, and, as you cannot help, believed or disbelieved, no matter what, so long as on that point, whatever it was, you loosed your mind, were whole and soul yourself. That, my ideal never can include, upon that element of truth and worth never be based. For say they make me pope, they can suppose it for our argument. Why, there I am at my tether's end, I've reached my height, and not a height which pleases you. An unbelieving pope won't do, you say. It is like those eerie stories nurses tell, of how some actor on a stage played death, with passport crown, sham orb and tinsel dart, and called himself the monarch of the world. Then, going in the tire room afterward, because the play was done, to shift himself, got touched upon the sleeve familiarly, the moment he had shut the closet door, by Death himself. Thus God might touch a pope at unawares, ask what his baubles mean, and whose part he presumed to play just now? Best be yourself, imperial, plain and true. So, drawing comfortable breath again, you'll weigh and find, whatever more or less I boast of my ideal realized, is nothing in the balance when opposed to your ideal, your grand simple life, of which you will not realize one jot. I am much. You are nothing. You would be all, I would be merely much. You beat me there. No, friend, you do not beat me. Hearken why. The common problem, yours, mine, everyone's, is not to fancy what were fair in life provided it could be, but, finding first what may be, then find how to make it fair up to our means, a very different thing. No abstract intellectual plan of life quite irrespective of life's plainest laws, but one, a man, who is man and nothing more, may lead within a world which, by your leave, is Rome or London, not fool's paradise. Embellish Rome, idealize away, make paradise of London if you can, you're welcome, nay, you're wise. A simile. We mortals cross the ocean of this world each in his average cabin of our life, the best is not big, the worst yields elbow room. Now for our 6 months voyage, how prepare? You come on shipboard with the landsman's list of things he calls convenient, so they are. An India screen is pretty furniture, a pianoforte is a fine resource, all Balzac's novels occupy one shelf, the new edition 50 volumes long, and little Greek books, with the funny type they get up well at Leipzig, fill the next go on. Slabbed marble, what a bath it makes. And Parma's pride, the Jerome, let us add. 'Twere pleasant could Correggio's fleeting glow hang full in face of one where'er one roams, since he more than the others brings with him Italy's self, the marvellous Modenas. Yet 'twas not on your list before, perhaps. Alas, friend, here's the agent. Is T the name? The captain, or whoever's master here, you see him screw his face up. What's his cry you set foot on shipboard? 6 feet square. If you want to understand what 6 feet mean, compute and purchase stores accordingly, and if, in pique because he overhauls your Jerome, piano, bath, you come on board bare why, you cut a figure at the first while sympathetic landsmen see you off. Not afterward, when long or half sea's over, you peep up from your utterly naked boards into some snug and well-appointed berth, like mine for instance. Try the cooler jug, put back the other, but don't jog the ice. And mortified you mutter well and good. He sits enjoying his sea furniture. 'Tis stout and proper, and there's store of it, though I've the better notion, I'll agree, of fitting rooms up. Hang the carpenter, neat ship-shape fixings and contrivances I would have brought my Jerome, frame and all. And meantime you bring nothing, never mind you've proved your artist nature, what you don't you might bring, so despise me, as I say. Now come, let's backward to the starting place. See my way, we were 2 college friends. Suppose prepare together for our voyage, then, each note and check the other in his work. Here's mine, a bishop's outfit. Criticize. What's wrong? Why want you be a bishop too? Why first, you don't believe, you don't and can't, not statedly, that is, and fixedly and absolutely and exclusively in any revelation called divine. No dogmas nail your faith. And what remains but say so, like the honest man you are. First, therefore, overhaul theology. Nay, I too, not a fool, you please to think, must find believing every whit as hard, and if I do not frankly say as much, the ugly consequence is clear enough. Now wait, my friend, well, I do not believe if you'll accept no faith that is not fixed, absolute and exclusive, as you say. You're wrong, I mean to prove it in due time. Meanwhile, I know where difficulties lie I cannot solve, nor ever shall, so give up hope accordingly to solve, to you, and over the wine. Our dogmas then with both of us, though in unlike degree, missing full credence overboard with them. I mean to meet you on your own premise, good, there go mine in company with yours. And now what are we? Unbelievers both, calm and complete, determinately fixed today, tomorrow and forever, pray? You'll guarantee me that? Not so, I think. In no wise. All we've gained is, that belief, as unbelief before, shakes us by fits, confounds us like its predecessor. Where's the gain? How can we guard our unbelief, make it bear fruit to us? The problem here, just when we are safest, there's a sunset touch, a fancy from a flower bell, someone's death, a chorus ending from Euripides, and that's enough for 50 hopes and fears as old and new at once as nature's self, to rap and knock and enter in our soul, take hands and dance there, a fantastic ring, round the ancient idol, on his base again, the grand perhaps. We look on helplessly. There the old misgivings, crooked questions are this good God, what he could do, if he would, if he could then must have done long since, if so, when, where and how? Some way must be, once feel about, and soon or late you hit some sense, in which it might be, after all. Why not, the way, the truth, the life? That way over the mountain, which who stands upon is apt to doubt if it be meant for a road. While, if he views it from the waist itself, up goes the line there, plain from base to brow, not vague, mistakable. What is a break or two seen from the unbroken desert either side? And then, to bring in fresh philosophy, what if the breaks themselves should prove at last the most consummate of contrivances to train a man's eye, teach him what is faith? And so we stumble at truth's very test. All we have gained then by our unbelief is a life of doubt diversified by faith, for one of faith diversified by doubt. We called the chessboard white, we call it black. Well, you're a join, the end's no worse, at least. We've a reason for both colors on the board, why not confess then, where I drop the faith and you the doubt, that I am as right as you? Because, friend, in the next place, this being so, and both things even, faith and unbelief left to a man's choice, we'll proceed a step, returning to our image, which I like. A man's choice, yes, but a cabin passenger as the man made for the special life o' the world. Do you forget him? I remember though. Consult our ship's conditions and you find one and but one choice suitable to all. The choice that you unluckily prefer, turning things topsy-turvy they are going to the ground. Belief or unbelief bears upon life, determines its whole course, begins at its beginning. See the world such as it is, you made it not, nor I. I mean to take it as it is, and you, not so you'll take it, though you get naught else. I know the special kind of life I like, what suits the most my idiosyncrasy, brings out the best of me and bears me fruit and power, peace, pleasantness and length of days. I find that positive belief does this for me, and unbelief, no whit of this. For you, it does, however? That, we'll try. 'Tis clear, I cannot lead my life, at least, induce the world to let me peaceably, without declaring at the outset, friends, I absolutely and peremptorily believe. I say, faith is my waking life, one sleeps, indeed, and dreams at intervals, we know, but waking's the main point with us and my provision's for life's waking part. Accordingly, I use heart, head and hand all day, I build, scheme, study, and make friends. And when night overtakes me, down I'll lie, sleep, dream a little, and get done with it, the sooner the better, to begin afresh. What's midnight doubt before the day spring's faith? You, the philosopher, that disbelieve, that recognize the night, give dreams their way to be consistent. You should keep your bed, abstain from healthy acts that prove you man, for fear you drowse perhaps at unawares. And certainly at night you'll sleep and dream, live through the day and bustle as you please. And so you live to sleep as I to wake, to unbelieve as I to still believe. Well, and the common sense o' the world calls you bedridden, and its good things come to me. Its estimation, which is half the fight, that is the first cabin comfort I secure the next. But you perceive with half an eye. Come, it's best believing, if we may. You can but own that. Next, concede again, if once we choose belief, on all accounts we can be too decisive in our faith, conclusive and exclusive in its terms, to suit the world which gives us the good things. In every man's career are certain points whereon he dares not be indifferent. The world detects him clearly, if he dare, as baffled at the game, and losing life. He may care little or he may care much for riches, honor, pleasure, work, repose, since various theories of life and life's success are extant which might easily comport with either estimate of these. And whoso chooses wealth or poverty, labor or quiet, is not judged a fool because his fellow would choose otherwise. We let him choose upon his own account so long as he is consistent with his choice. But certain points, left wholly to himself, when once a man has arbitrated on, we say he must succeed there or go hang. Thus, he should wed the woman he loves most or needs most, whatsoever the love or need for he can't wed twice. Then, he must avouch, or follow, at the least, sufficiently, the form of faith his conscience holds the best, whate'er the process of conviction was, for nothing can compensate his mistake on such a point. The man himself being judge, he cannot wed twice, nor twice lose his soul. Well now, there's one great form of Christian faith I happened to be born in, which to teach was given me as I grew up, on all hands, as best and readiest means of living by. The same on examination being proved the most pronounced, moreover, fixed, precise and absolute form of faith in the whole world, accordingly, most potent of all forms for working on the world. Observe, my friend, such as you know me, I am free to say, in these hard latter days which hamper one, myself by no immoderate exercise of intellect and learning, but the tact to let external forces work for me, bid the street's stones be bread and they are bread. Bid Peter's creed, or rather, Hildebrand's, exalt me o'er my fellows in the world and make my life an ease and joy and pride. It is so, which for me is a great point gained, who have a soul and body that exact a comfortable care in many ways. There is power in me and will to dominate which I must exercise. They hurt me else, in many ways I need mankind's respect, obedience, and the love that's born of fear, while at the same time, there's a taste I have, a toy of soul, a titillating thing, refuses to digest these dainties crude. The naked life is gross till closed upon, I must take what men offer, with a grace as though I would not, could I help it, take. An uniform I wear though over rich, something imposed on me, no choice of mine. No fancy dress worn for pure fancy's sake and despicable therefore. Now folk kneel and kiss my hand, of course the church's hand. Thus I am made, thus life is best for me, and thus that it should be I have procured. And thus it could not be another way, I venture to imagine. You'll reply, so far my choice, no doubt, is a success. But were I made of better elements, with nobler instincts, purer tastes, like you, I hardly would account the thing success, though it did all for me, I say. But, friend, we speak of what is not, of what might be, and how 'twere better if 'twere otherwise. I am the man you see here plain enough. Grant I am a beast, why, beasts must lead beasts' lives. Suppose I own at once to tail and claws. The tailsman exceeds me, but being tailed I'll lash out lion fashion, and leave apes to dock their stump and dress their haunches up. My business is not to remake myself, but make the absolute best of what God made. Or our first simile, though you prove me doomed to a viler birth still, to the steerage hole, the sheep pen or the pigsty, I should strive to make what use of each were possible. And as this cabin gets upholstery, that hutch should rustle with sufficient straw. But, friend, I don't acknowledge quite so fast I fell of all your manhood as lofty tastes enumerated so complacently, on the mere ground that you forsooth can find in this particular life I choose to lead no fit provision for them. Can you not? Say you, my fault is I address myself to grosser estimators than should judge? And that's no way of holding up the soul which, nobler, needs men's praise perhaps, yet knows one wise man's verdict outweighs all the fools would like the two, but, forced to choose, takes that. I pine among my million imbeciles. You think, aware some dozen men of sense I me and know me, whether I believe in the last winking virgin, as I vow, and am a fool, or disbelieve in her and am a knave, approve in neither case, withhold their voices though I look their way, like Verdi when, at his worst opera's end. The thing they gave at Florence, what's its name? While the madhouse full plaudits near outbang his orchestra of salt box, tongs and bones, he looks through all the roaring and the wreaths where sits Rossini patient in his stall. Nay, friend, I meet you with an answer here that even your prime men who praise their kind are men still, catch a wheel within a wheel, see more in the truth than the truth's simple self, confuse themselves. You see lads walk the street 60 the minute. What is to note in that? You see one lad or astride a chimney stack. Him you must watch, he is sure to fall, yet stands. Our interest is on the dangerous edge of things. The honest thief, the tender murderer, the superstitious atheist, demi-reps that loves and saves her soul in new French books we watch while these in equilibrium keep the giddy line midway, one step aside, they're classed and done with. I, then, keep the line before your sages, just the men to shrink from the gross weights, coarse scales and labels broad you offer their refinement. Fool or knave? Why needs a bishop be a fool or knave when there is 1,000 diamond weights between? So, I enlist them. Your picked 12, you'll find, profess themselves indignant, scandalized at thus being held unable to explain how a superior man who disbelieves may not believe as well, that scaling way. It is through my coming in the tale of time, nicking the minute with a happy tact. Had I been born 300 years ago they'd say, what is strange? BlougramÂ of course believes. And, 70 years since, disbelieves of course. But now, he may believe. And yet how can he? All eyes turn with interest. Whereas, step off the line on either side you, for example, clever to a fault, the rough and ready man who write apace, read somewhat seldomer, think perhaps even less you disbelieve. Who wonders and who cares? Lord so-and-so his coat bedropped with wax, all Peter's chains about his waist, his back brave with the needlework of noodledom believes. Again, who wonders and who cares? But I, the man of sense and learning too, the able to think yet act, the this, the that, I, to believe at this late time of day. Enough. You see, I need not fear contempt. Except it is yours. Admire me as these may, you don't. But whom at least do you admire? Present your own perfection, your ideal, your patterned man for a minute. Oh, make haste, is it Napoleon you would have us grow? Concede the means. Allow his head and hand, a large concession, clever as you are, good. In our common primal element of unbelief we can believe, you know we still at that admission, recollect. Where do you find apart from, towering o'er the secondary temporary aims which satisfy the gross taste you despise, where do you find his star? His crazy trust God knows through what or in what? It is alive and shines and leads him, and that is all we want. Have we aught in our sober night shall point such ends as his were, and direct the means of working out our purpose straight as his, nor bring a moment's trouble and success with aftercare to justify the same? Be a Napoleon, and yet disbelieve. Why, the man is mad, friend, take his light away. What is the very good o' the world, for which you dare with comfort to yourself blow millions up? We neither of us see it. We do see the blown up millions spatter of their brains and writhing of their bowels and so forth, in that bewildering entanglement of horrible eventualities past calculation to the end of time. Can I mistake for some clear word of God which were my ample warrant for it all? His puff of hazy instinct, idle talk, the state, that I quack nonsense about crowns, and, when one beats the man to his last hold, a vague idea of setting things to rights, policing people efficaciously, more to their profit, most of all to his own. The whole to end that dismallest of ends by an Austrian marriage, cant to us the Church, and resurrection of the old regime? Would I, who hope to live a dozen years, fight Austerlitz for reasons such and such? No, for, concede me but the merest chance doubt may be wrong there's judgment, life to come. With just that chance, I dare not. Doubt proves right. This present life is all. You offer me its dozen noisy years, without a chance that wedding an archduchess, wearing lace, and getting called by divers new kind names, will drive off ugly thoughts and let me dine, sleep, read and chat in quiet as I like. Therefore I will not. Take another case. Fit up the cabin yet another way. What say you to the poets? Shall we write Hamlet, Othello, make the world our own, without a risk to run of either sort? I continue to put the strongest reason first. But try, you urge, the trying shall suffice. The aim, if reached or not, makes great the life. Try to be Shakespeare, leave the rest to fate. Spare myself knowledge, there's no fooling me. If I prefer remaining my poor self, I say so not in self-dispraise but praise. If I am a Shakespeare, let the well alone. Why should I try to be what now I am? If I am no Shakespeare, as too probable, his power and consciousness and self-delight and all we want in common, shall I find trying forever? While on points of taste wherewith, to speak it humbly, he and I are order like I'll ask you, I or he, which in our two lives realizes most? Much, he imagined somewhat, I possess. He had the imagination. Stick to that. Let him say, in the face of my soul's works your world is worthless, and I touch it not lest I should wrong then my LL withdraw my plea. But does he say so? Look upon his life. Himself, who only can, gives judgment there. He leaves his towers and gorgeous palaces to build the trimest house in Stratford town. Saves money, spends it, owns the worth of things, Giulio Romano's pictures, Dowland's lute. Enjoys a show, respects the puppets, too, and none more, had he seen its entry once, than Pandulph, of fair Milan Cardinal. Why then should I who play that personage, the very Pandulph Shakespeare's fancy made, be told that had the poet chanced to start from where I stand now, some degree like mine being just the goal he ran his race to reach, he would have run the whole race back, forsooth, and left being Pandulph, to begin right plays. Ah, the earth's best can be but the earth's best. Did Shakespeare live, he could but sit at home and get himself in dreams the Vatican, Greek busts, Venetian paintings, Roman walls, and English books, none equal to his own, which I read, bound in gold. He never did. Tourney, Naples Bay and Gothard's top, friend? I could not fancy one of these. But, as I pour this claret, there they are. I've gained them cross St. Gothard last July with 10 mules to the carriage and a bed slung inside. Is my hap the worse for that? We want the same things, Shakespeare and myself, and what I want, I have. He, gifted more, could fancy he too had them when he liked, but not so thoroughly that, if fate allowed, he would not have them also in my sense. We play one game. I sent the ball aloft no less adroitly that of 50 strokes scarce 5 go o'er the wall so wide and high which sends them back to me. I wish and get he struck balls higher and with better skill, but at a poor fence level with his head, and hit his Stratford house, a coat of arms, successful dealings in his grain and wool, while I receive heaven essence sense in my nose and style myself the cousin of Queen Bess. Ask him, if this life's all, who wins the game? believe and our whole argument breaks up. Enthusiasm is the best thing, I repeat. Only, we can command it. Fire and life for all, dead matter is nothing, we agree, and be it a mad dream or God's very breath, the fact is the same. Belief as fire, once in us, makes of all else mere stuff to show itself. We penetrate our life with such a glow as fire lends wood and iron. This turns steel, that burns to ash all as one. Fire proves its power for good or ill, since men call flare success. But paint a fire, it will not therefore burn. Light one in me, I'll find it food enough. Why, to be Luther that is a life to lead, incomparably better than my own. He comes, reclaims God as earth for God, he says, sets up God as rule again by simple means, reopens his shut book, and all is done. He flared out in the flaring of mankind. Such Luther's luck was, how shall such be mine? If he succeeded, nothing is left to do, and if he did not altogether well, Strauss is the next advance. All Strauss should be I might be also. But to what result? He looks upon no future, Luther did. What can I gain on the denying side? Ice makes no conflagration. State the facts, read the text right, emancipate the world. The emancipated world enjoys itself with scarce a thank you. BlougramÂ told it first it could not owe a farthing, not to him more than St. Paul. 'Twould press its pay, you think? Then add there is still that plaguey 100th chance Strauss may be wrong. And so a risk is run for what gain? Not for Lutherus, who secured a real heaven in his heart throughout his life, supposing death a little altered things. But since really you lack faith, you cry, you run the same risk really on all sides, in cool indifference as bold unbelief. As well be Strauss as swing twixt Paul and him. It is not worth having such imperfect faith, no more available to do faith's work than unbelief like mine. Whole faith, or none. Softly, my friend. I must dispute that point one's own the use of faith. I'll find you faith. We were back on Christian ground. You call for faith, I show you doubt, to prove that faith exists. The more of doubt, the stronger faith, I say, if faith overcomes doubt. How I know it does? By life and man as free will, God gave for that. To mood life as we choose it, shows our choice, that is our one act, the previous work as his own. You criticize the soul? It reared this tree, this broad life, and whatever fruit it bears. What matter though I doubt at every pore, head doubts, heart doubts, doubts at my fingers' ends, doubts in the trivial work of every day, doubts at the very basis of my soul in the grand moments when she probes herself. If finally I have a life to show, the thing I did, brought out an evidence against the thing done to me underground by hell and all its brood, for aught I know? I say, whence sprang this? Shows it faith or doubt? All less doubt in me. Or as break of faith in this? It is the idea, the feeling and the love, God means mankind should strive for and show forth whatever be the process to that end, and not historic knowledge, logic sound, and metaphysical acumen, sure. What think ye of Christ, friend? When all is done and said, like you this Christianity or not? It may be false, but will you wish it true? Has it your vote to be so if it can? Trust you an instinct silence long ago that will break silence and enjoin you love what mortified philosophy is ours, and all in vain, with bidding you despise? If you desire faith then you be faith enough, what else seeks God? Nay, what else seek ourselves? You form a notion of me, we'll suppose, on hearsay. It is a favorable one, but still you add, there was no such good man, because of contradiction in the facts. One proves, for instance, he was born in Rome, this BlougramÂ, yet throughout the tales of him I see he figures as an Englishman. Well, the two things are reconciliable. But would I rather you discovered that, subjoining still, what matter though they be? BlougramÂ concerns me not, born here or there. Pure faith indeed, you know not what you ask. Naked belief in God the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, sears too much the sense of conscious creatures to be born. It were the seeing him, no flesh shall dare some think, creation as meant to show him forth, I say it as meant to hide him all it can, and that is what all the blessed evil is for. Its use in time is to environ us, our breath, our drop of dew, with shield enough against that side till we can bear its stress. Under a vertical sun, the exposed brain and lidless eye and disimprisoned heart less certainly would wither up at once than mind, confronted with the truth of him. But time and earth case harden us to live. The feeblest senses trusted most. The child feels God a moment, it shores o'er the place, plays on and grows to be a man like us. With me, faith means perpetual unbelief kept quiet like the snake neath Michael's foot who stands calm just because he feels it right. Or, if that is too ambitious, here's my box. I need the excitation of a pinch threatening the torpor of the inside nose nigh on the imminent sneeze that never comes. Leave it in peace, advise the simple folk, make it aware of peace by itching fits, say I let doubt occasion still more faith. You'll say, once all believed, man, woman, child, in that dear middle age these noodles praise. How you'd exult if I could put you back 600 years, blot out cosmogony, geology, ethnology, whatnot, Greek endings, each the little passing bell that signifies some faith is about to die, and set you square with Genesis again. When such a traveler told you his last news, he saw the archetype of Ararat, but did not climb there since 'twas getting dusk and robber bands infest the mountainous foot. How should you feel, I ask, in such an age, how act? As other people felt and did. With soul more blank than this decanter's knob, believe and yet lie, kill, rob, fornicate full in belief as face, like the beast should he be. No, when the fight begins within himself, a man is worth something. God stoops o'er his head, Satan looks up between his feet, both tug he is left, himself, I the middle, the soul wakes and grows. Prolong that battle through his life. Never leave growing till the life to come. Here, we've got callous to the virginous winks that used to puzzle people wholesomely. Men have outgrown the shame of being fools. What are the laws of nature? Not to bend if the church bid them, Brother Newman asks. Up with the Immaculate Conception, then on to the rack with faith, is my advice. Will not that hurry us upon our knees, knocking our breasts? It can be yet it shall. Who am I, the worm, to argue with my Pope? Low things confound the high things. And so forth. That's better than acquitting God with grace as some folk do. He has tried, no case is proved, philosophy is lenient, he may go. You'll say the old system is not so obsolete, but men believe still, but who and where? King Bomba's Lazzaroni foster yet the sacred flame, so Antonelli writes. But even of these, what ragamuffin saint believes God watches him continually, as he believes in fire that it will burn, or rain that it will drench him? Break fire's law, sin against rain, although the penalty be just a singe or soaking? No, he smiles. Those laws are laws that can enforce themselves. The sum of all is yes, my doubt is great, my faith is still greater, than my faith is enough. I have read much, thought much, experienced much, yet would die rather than avow my fear the Naples liquefaction may be false, when set to happen by the palace clock according to the clouds or dinner time. I hear you recommend, I might at least eliminate, declassify my faith since I adopt it. Keeping what I must and leaving what I can, such points as this. I want that is, I can throw one away. Supposing there is no truth in what I hold about the need of trial to man's faith, still, when you bid me purify the same, To such a process I discern no end. Clearing off one excrescence to see two. There as ever a next in size, now grown as big, that meets the knife, I cut and cut again. First cut the liquefaction, what comes last but Fitch's clever cut at God himself? Experimentalize on sacred things. I trust nor hand nor eye nor heart nor brain to stop betimes, they all get drunk alike. The first step, I am master not to take. You defined the cutting process to your taste as much as leaving growths of lies unpruned, nor see more danger in it, you're a tart. Your taste is worth mine. But my taste proves more wise when we consider that the steadfast hold on the extreme end of the chain of faith gives all the advantage, makes the difference with the rough purblind mass we seek to rule. We are their lords, or they are free of us, just as we tighten or relax our hold. So, others matters equal, we'll revert to the first problem which, if solved my way and thrown into the balance, turns the scale how we may lead a comfortable life, how suit our luggage to the cabin's size. Of course you are remarking all this time how narrowly and grossly I view life, respect the creature comforts, care to rule the masses, and regard complacently the cabin, in our old phrase. Well, I do. I act for, talk for, live for this world now, as this world prizes action, life and talk no prejudice to what next world may prove, whose new laws and requirements, my best pledge to observe then, is that I observe these now, shall do hereafter what I do meanwhile. Let us concede gratuitously though next life relieves the soul of body, yields pure spiritual enjoyment, well, my friend, why lose this life in the meantime, since its use may be to make the next life more intense? Do you know, I have often had a dream. Work it up in your next month's article of man's poor spirit in its progress, still losing true life forever and a day through ever trying to be and ever being in the evolution of successive spheres before its actual sphere and place of life, halfway into the next, which having reached, it shoots with corresponding foolery halfway into the next still, on and off. As when a traveler, bound from north to south, scouts for in Russia what is its use in France? In France spurns flannel whereas its need in Spain? In Spain drops cloth to Cumbres for Algiers. Linen goes next, and last the skin itself, a superfluity at Timbuktu. When, through his journey, was the fool at ease? I am at ease now, friend. Worldly in this world, I take in like its way of life. I think my brothers, who administer the means, live better for my comfort that is good too. And God, if he pronounce upon such life, approves my service, which is better still. If he keeps silence, why, for you or me or that brute beast pulled up in today's times, what odds is he, save to ourselves, what life we lead? You meet me at this issue, you declare, all special pleading done with truth as truth, and justifies itself by undreamed ways. You don't fear but it is better, if we doubt, to say so, act up to our truth perceived however feebly. Do then, act away. 'Tis there I am on the watch for you. How one acts is, both of us agree, our chief concern, and how you'll act is what I fain would see if, like the candid person you appear, you dare to make the most of your life's scheme as I of mine, live up to its full law since there is no higher law that counterchecks. Put natural religion to the test you've just demolished the revealed with quick, down to the root of all that checks your will, all prohibition to lie, kill and thieve, or even to be an atheistic priest. Suppose a pricking to incontinence philosophers deduce a chastity or shame, from just the fact that at the first Hoso embraced a woman in the field, threw club down and forwent his brains beside, so, stood a ready victim in the reach of any brother savage, club in hand. Hence saw the use of going out of sight in wood or cave to prosecute his loves. I read this in a French book the other day. Does Loso analyze coerce you much? Oh, Men spin clouds of fuzz where matters end, but you hear each where the first thread begins. You'll soon cut that. Which means you can, but one T, through certain instincts, blind, unreasoned doubt, you dare not set aside. You can T-toe why, but there they are, and so you let them rule. Then, friend, you seem as much a slave as I, a liar, conscious coward and hypocrite, without the good the slave expects to get, in case he has a master after all. You own your instincts? Why, what else do I, who am made for, and must have a god or I can be aught, do aught? No mere name wand, but the true thing with what proves its truth, to wit, a relation from that thing to me, touching from head to foot, which touch I feel, and with it take the rest, this life of ours. I live my life here. Yours you dare not live. Not as I state it, who you please subjoin, disfigure such a life and call it names, while, to your mind, remains another way for simple men. Knowledge and power have rights, but ignorance and weakness have rights too. There needs no crucial effort to find truth. If here or there or anywhere about we ought to turn each side, try hard and see, and if we can be glad we've earned at least the right, by one laborious proof the more, to graze in peace earth's pleasant pasturage. Men are not angels, but, properly, are brutes, something we may see, all we cannot see. What need of lying? I say, I see all, and swear to each detail the most minute in what I think upon his face. You, mere cloud, I swear I hear him speak and see him wink, for fear, if once I drop the emphasis, mankind may doubt there's any cloud at all. You take the simple life ready to see, willing to see, fear no cloud's worth of face, and leaving quiet what no strength can move, and which, who bids you move? Who has the right? I bid you. But you are God's sheep, not mine, pastor tui dominus. You find in this the pleasant pasture of our life. Much you may eat without the least offense, much you don't eat because you're more objects, much you would eat but that your fellow flock open great eyes at you and even but, and thereupon you like your mates so well you cannot please yourself, offending them though when they seem exorbitantly cheap, you weigh your pleasure with their butts and bleats and strike the balance. Sometimes certain fears restrain your real checks since you find them so, sometimes you please yourself and nothing checks. And thus you graze through life with not one lie, and like it best. But do you, in truth's name? If so, you beat, which means you are not I who needs must make earth mine and feed my fill, not simply unbutted at, unbickered with, but motioned to the velvet of the sward by those obsequious weather's very selves. Look at me, sir. My age is double yours. At yours, I knew beforehand, so enjoyed, what now I should be as, permit the word, I pretty well imagine your whole range and stretch of t'other 20 years to come. We both have minds and bodies much alike, in truth's name. Don't you want my bishopric, my daily bread, my influence and my state? You're young. I am old. You must be old one day. Will you find then, as I do hour by hour, women their lovers kneel to, who cut curls from your fat lapdog's ear to grace a brooch dukes, who petition just to kiss your ring with much beside you know or may conceive? Suppose we die tonight, well, here am I, such were my gains, life bore this fruit to me, while writing all the same my articles on music, poetry, the fictal vase found it all Albano, or Anacreon's Greek. But you the highest honor in your life, the thing you'll crown yourself with, all your days, is dining here and drinking this last glass I pour you out in sign of amity before we part forever. Of your power and social influence, worldly worth in short, judge what is my estimation by the fact, I do not condescend to enjoin, beseech, hint secrecy on one of all these words. You're shrewd and know that should you publish one the world would brand the lie my enemies first, who do sneer the bishop as an arch hypocrite and knave perhaps, but not so frank a fool. whereas I should not dare for both my ears breathe one such syllable, smile one such smile, before the chaplain who reflects myself my shade as so much more potent than your flesh. What is your reward, self-abnegating friend? Stood you confessed of those exceptional and privileged great natures that dwarf mine, a zealot with a mad ideal in reach, a poet just about to print his ode, a statesman with a scheme to stop this war, an artist whose religion is his art, I should have nothing to object. Such men carry the fire, all things grow warm to them, their drugget is worth my purple, they beat me. But you are just as little those as I you, Gigodibs, who, 30 years of age, write statedly for Blackwood's magazine, believe you see 2 points in Hamlet's soul unseized by the Germans, yet which view you'll print meantime the best you have to show being still that lively lightsome article we took almost for the true Dickens. What is its name? This Lemon Cellar, or Whitocap Life Limb After Dark. It made me laugh, I know, and pleased a month, and brought you in £10. Success I recognize and compliment, and therefore give you, if you choose, 3 words. The card and pencil scratch is quite enough, which whether here, in Dublin or New York, will get you, prompt as at my eyebrows wink, such terms as never you aspired to get in all our own reviews and some not ours. Go write your lively sketches. Be the first BlougramÂ, or the eccentric confidence, or better simply say, the outward bound. Why, men as soon would throw it in my teeth as copy and quote the infamy chalked broad about me on the church door opposite. You will not wait for that experience though, I fancy, howsoever you decide, to discontinue not detesting, not defaming, but at least despising me. Over his wine so smiled and talked his our Sylvester BlougramÂ, styled in partibus episcopus, nec non. The deuce knows what it has changed to by our novel hierarchy. With Gigodibs the literary man, who played with spoons, explored his plate's design, and ranged the olive stones about its edge, while the great bishop rolled him out a mind long crumpled, till creased consciousness lay smooth. For BlougramÂ, he believed, say, half he spoke. The other portion, as he shaped it thus for argumentatory purposes, he felt his foe was foolish to dispute. Some arbitrary accidental thoughts that crossed his mind, amusing because new, he chose to represent as fixtures there, invariable convictions such they seemed beside his interlocutor's loose cards flung daily down, and not the same way twice, while certain hell-deep instincts, man's weak tongue is never bold to utter in their truth because styled hell-deep. 'Tis an old mistake to place hell at the bottom of the earth. He ignored these, not having in readiness their nomenclature and philosophy. He said true things, but called them by wrong names. On the whole, he thought, I justify myself on every point. Where cavillers like this oppugn my life, he tries one kind of fence, I close, he has worsted, that's enough for him. He is on the ground, if ground should break away I take my stand on, there is a firmer yet beneath it, both of us may sink and reach. His ground was over mine and broke the first, so, let him sit with me this many a year. He did not sit 5 minutes. Just a week sufficed his sudden healthy vehemence. Something had struck him in the outward bound another way than BlougramÂ's purpose was, and having bought, not cabin furniture but settler's implements enough for 3, and started for Australia there, I hope, by this time he has tested his first plough, and studied his last chapter of St. John.